As private, reserved, and lone wolf personality types, INFJs might seem to have trust issues when it comes to letting other people into their lives. It saddens me to say that I've observed this too in my own relationships as an INFJ male. Do INFJs have trust issues? If so, what could be some of the reasons? Let's have a deeper look. 1. INFJs seem to have trust issues because their sensitivity made them vulnerable to betrayal. Without trying to point out the obvious, in most cases, anyone who is betrayed could develop trust issues. For INFJs, the subject of trust issues is often an all too familiar painful recurring theme. Extroverted feeling, F, is the cognitive function of INFJs that makes them very much focused on other people's emotions, state of mind, and well-being. Extroverted feeling propels INFJs to cater to the emotional needs of another person or group. INFJs are very astute when it comes to sensing the interpersonal relational energies and knowing how to keep all of them flowing in pristine harmony. For example, talking to that one person that's being left out of the group conversation at a party so that they feel included, or using self-deprecating humor to break the ice when in a new group setting where the energy is tense. INFJs are often also born as highly sensitive people, HSP, which means their nervous system picks up on a lot of subtle, emotional stimuli, but make them more easily over-aroused. Being so focused on the emotions of others and having a heightened sensitivity in general as highly sensitive persons also make INFJs more susceptible to emotional damage and pain. Betrayal is a very complex, nefarious emotional occurrence and cuts so deep that the more emotionally sensitive INFJ can develop some serious emotional wounds, which may result in trust issues, especially when the INFJ is young, naive, and still inexperienced. The young INFJ, who has a reputation for being altruistic, kind-hearted, and soft-spoken, goes through life during their youth naively with their hearts wide open. Sadly, INFJs get preyed upon because of these traits when there's someone in their life with malicious intent, like a bully classmate or a narcissistic parent who seeks out sensitive and empathic victims. The blow of betrayal hits extra hard because the unassuming sensitive INFJ was standing wide open. Therefore, many of them experience trust issues when meeting new people because of betrayal in the past. INFJs are known to be personalities that are very difficult to get close to. They take their time to figure people out from afar before opening up, especially adult INFJs who have experienced betrayal or painful relationships before, which their sensitivity amplified even more. 2. INFJs seem to have trust issues because they tend to attract toxic people. Consequently, INFJs who have experienced betrayal by people who've exploited their sensitivity may have emotional wounds. Emotional wounds that consist of residual sadness, pain, anxiety, anger, shame, insecurity, low self-esteem, and trauma. When the young INFJ does not tend to these emotional wounds early on and heal them by going through therapy or having healthy caregivers / role models / significant others help them process these painful emotions, the wounds may get obscured over time, meaning that the INFJ isn't as aware of the emotional baggage they are still carrying deep inside with them. However, underneath the surface, those emotional wounds are still there, oozing ever so subtly the unresolved pain of the past. Now this is where it becomes dark, because toxic predatory people on the narcissistic, antisocial, or borderline personality disorder spectrum consciously and unconsciously are attracted by the emotional wound energy like sharks are to blood and water. They seek out their next potential victims based on that emotional vulnerability, as these predatory toxic people need their victims in a weakened emotional state so that they can unleash verbal abuse, emotional manipulation, and exploitation without any pushback. An emotionally wounded INFJ with porous boundaries is very much at risk of attracting these people on a consistent basis. If all of the above wasn't morbid enough, the INFJ's deeply nurturing qualities, empathy, supportiveness, and patience, also may attract other wounded individuals who are codependent and consciously and unconsciously seek out the INFJ's warmth, hoping to be healed. After perhaps multiple painful relationships / encounters, over time, INFJs might start to realize they attract the aforementioned toxic people consistently. In an attempt to protect oneself, and jaded because of the accumulated hurt throughout those toxic relationships, INFJs can become extremely vigilant when it comes to romantic relationships, friendships, or new people they meet. Often to their own detriment, INFJs become so hyper-focused on the intentions, character, and morality of others that they have a hard time trusting people. The INFJ's trust issues are rooted in the painful past of relationship turmoil. By any luck, they become aware of their own unhealthy relationship patterns, and their insight propels them to seek healing via therapy, self-help, and the spiritual domain. Yet poignantly so, in many cases the INFJ remains trapped in this insidious toxic relationship bind and suffers immensely while in the midst of it. 3. INFJs seem to have trust issues because they try to protect their sensitive hearts. This question has been posed many times before. Is the INFJ personality merely a byproduct of childhood trauma? Looking at how hard it seems to win most INFJs' trust, one might believe so. When the emotionally wounded INFJ wakes up from the unconscious nightmare their unhealthy relationship patterns create, they start to realize how important it is to protect themselves. They might start to realize how vulnerable their sensitive heart, mind, and body are when they just naively let anyone enter their inner sanctuary merely on the premise of good faith. As a result of perhaps years of accrued relationship trauma, the INFJ might overcompensate and start to retaliate by throwing up defensive walls that stand taller than the Empire State Building. Almost everyone gets thoroughly screened, observed, and analyzed through their behavior patterns, emotional patterns, character, the congruency, or lack thereof, between words, deeds, and energy, the infamous INFJ bullshit detector. Almost nobody escapes the INFJ's X-ray vision that seems to even register your past lives. All of that information is taken into account when the INFJ is preparing its final verdict of you as a person. Sadly, as a consequence, the INFJ creates a safe little kingdom, fortified by massive walls, yet devoid of any nurturing relationships.
Tomorrow you will have your heads cut off. I have chosen to send you as an advance party to hell.
New people that might have become good friends or precious loving romantic partners slowly fade out of the INFJ's life, as those people have grown weary, waiting outside of the fortress and prove themselves worthy. Even though the new seemingly impenetrable defense system of the INFJ has an impressive success rate, around 99%, of keeping the toxic rabble outside. Poignantly so, that same defense system also filters out many good, well-intentioned, healthy people. Healthy people that could have helped the scarred INFJ with healing attachment relationship trauma through forming new and healthy relationships based on trust, empathy, and reciprocity. Heartbreakingly, INFJs may rob themselves from this opportunity for healing time and time again, repeating their trauma of abandonment and betrayal, but this time unknowingly by their own accord via their trust issues. 4. INFJs seem to have trust issues because they have exceptional observation skills and intuition. Luckily, the INFJ's X-ray vision isn't merely a consequence of relational trauma. Many INFJs were born as highly sensitive people, HSP, as was mentioned before. The highly sensitive person is someone born with a more finely tuned nervous system. On average, it registers subtle stimuli far more easily, like barely noticeable sounds, soft lights, and hidden emotional energy and ambiguous mood states. For example, often highly sensitive persons are particularly easily startled or bothered by loud noises. Or they may be precisely aware of what the people around them are feeling and needing most of the time. About 20% of the population is born as a highly sensitive person, and many could believe that the highly sensitive person's nervous system may lie at the biological foundation of the INFJ personality. Having a highly sensitive nervous system might be an explanation of the intriguing mystery of why INFJs are renowned for nurturing emotional harmony with such poise. This heightened ability to consciously and unconsciously observe and register a lot of behavioral, emotional, and psychological information of people is a gift. Many people would miss it, but the keen-eyed INFJ usually has a wealth of subtle hidden information to draw from when determining if someone would be a good person for them to associate with. Yes, NFJs could therefore pretty fast come to a conclusion about somebody the both of you just met. You might think this was a hasty decision, bordering on strict, unfair judgment and trust issues, because surely nobody could accurately decide what a person's like within such a short time, right? Yes, that might be the case. Or the INFJ has seen and sensed, in that instance, an amount of information equivalent to 10 encounters, and now knows for certain to stay away. 5. INFJs seem to have trust issues because they are too idealistic in friendships. Now, last evening at a birthday party of a mutual friend, you had a nice chat with an INFJ. Throughout the night, you had running gags, conversations about your life dreams and goals, and felt a strong connection based on some mutual interests. On top of that, you have mutual friends too. All the right elements present for a new friendship to be born, right? And no, despite the fact that the both of you skipped on your way home, all enchanted by your chemistry of that night, It takes a lot for the INFJ to actually forge a new friendship. They are idealistic creatures that value morality, loyalty, peace, harmony, integrity, honesty, creativity, intellectuality, and humor. You might say, yeah, well, doesn't everybody value those things more or less? Yes, of course. Yet, the idealistic and perfectionistic INFJ needs all of those qualities to be present in their friends, and those friends need to have developed those qualities on a high level. Next to that list of qualities, the INFJ is a being that makes decisions deeply based on feelings too. You can make the requirements of the list, but the INFJ also needs to feel you are a suitable friend. Because there are so many factors at play here, it is very rare for the INFJ to form completely new friendships in life. Others might say the INFJ has trust issues because of these seemingly unrealistic standards. There might be some truth to that too. The INFJ's spiritual commitment to a friendship, however, is for life. Once someone is considered a real friend, the friendship is for life. Since INFJs also very much value their alone time for creation and introspection, they are very meticulous about who they should devote their precious time to. All of these things make it a very rare occasion when they forge new friendships. What do you think? Are INFJs more susceptible to developing trust issues? Do you as an INFJ struggle with trust issues yourself?